Hello, this is my final poster presentation for this class. Okay, let's see. So for the introduction, I'm going to be talking about what are high incidence disabilities and some of the characteristics of them in students, and I'll also be talking about some of the things I did this semester, like digital storytelling, organization system, and I'll also be talking about a strategy for students, and then I'll be concluding. So, what are high incidence disabilities? So, high incidence disabilities are the most prevalent with students today. These can actually make up to about 80% of all students with disabilities who are in school. And high incidence disabilities can include some things like an emotional disorder or behavioral disorder, learning disabilities, mild intellectual disabilities, high functioning autism, ADHD, speech impairments, language impairments, and other things like that. So I think something that I wanted to mention about this is, so I took this class, High Instance Disabilities, this semester. At the same time, I was also taking Low Incidence Disabilities with Ms. Shaw. So it was kind of interesting having both of those at the same time because I got to see the true distinction between high incidence disabilities and low incidence disabilities, where high incidence disabilities are more like high functioning. Like students are able to function more with they're usually can be verbal and they can do things more things on their own, and they can do their schoolwork, if that makes any sense, on their own more. And with students who have low incidence disabilities, they have complex bodies, they have complex instructional needs, complex behaviors, and they're usually they really can't. Well, the students that I observed in the MDS room for Miss Shaw's low incidence, they couldn't really move. They were in through different chairs, and they also weren't really verbal. So seeing that, and then seeing our placement for this class, like in a learning support classroom, I could really see the distinction between high incidence and low incidence. So I thought that was pretty cool that I took these at the same time. I mean, that's how it just happened. So that was definitely interesting. So some characteristics of high incidence disabilities and students who have them. They can sometimes be hard to distinguish from students without disabilities. Like to just look at them, you might not know that they have a high incidence disability. They can also often display a combination of academic, behavioral, and social problems. So academic being they're not doing so well with their schoolwork, or they're struggling in a certain area and they're going to need more support, more scaffolding. Um, with behavioral problems, this could be maybe meltdowns, or being rude to others, bullying others, maybe even hitting others, um, or hitting you, the teacher, or hitting an aide, maybe, or someone who is there to help the child. And social problems, maybe it's the other way around. Maybe they're the ones getting bullied, or maybe they're just anti-social. They don't have many friends, or maybe they say inappropriate things, or don't know what to say in social situations. That could be another problem to look at. And they can also meet the same standards as students without disabilities, with highly structured interventions that could be implemented with them, so they're able to learn and complete the same standards as students who don't have the disabilities. So something that we did this semester and that we talked about was digital story sharing. So digital story sharing is a creative and more individualized way to share a story with a student. I personally think it's better than just handing them a book and saying oh, here you go, kid, read this and do whatever. With this, you're interactive with the story. You're reading it. There's colorful pictures, this and that. And this, the name of the intervention says, digital. You're using technology, and it's excellent to do so, and it also keeps it more relevant in the world, the revolving world of technology we have today. What is it? It's also interactive. Like I said, with interactive links, and you can touch the buttons to advance the slides. It's more colorful. I mean, maybe the book you gave the child is a paper copy, and it's colorful, but I still think this is more colorful. And also a knowledge checker, doing it this way because there's comprehension questions that go along with the story, so you can check if the students are comprehending what they're reading. And then, so this is also really something I've never seen or actually heard of until this class, but it's something I definitely use in the future for my students because it's fun. So my story with this, I did a digital story sharing on an article from News to You about holiday giving. So it was about Christmas time, holiday time, and giving out gifts to your family and community helpers and like thanking those who help you in the community. Um, so I thought it was a good, relevant article, especially for this time of the year, of course. And so what I did was, as you can see in this picture, this is the title, or the intro slide, I guess I would say, to my digital story. So I added sounds, of course, and I also added, the buttons so that the students could advance this more interactive. And then on each slide, I took one sentence from the story, excuse me, and put it on each slide with maybe a picture, like to represent what the sentence said, or like something holiday themed, like a Christmas tree. If the sentence said something about community helpers, I would put a picture of community helpers. Teacher is one of the community helpers, so I added that to the story as well. I also added some interactive links about like what are community helpers, what do teachers do, and also like one about crafts and games, like holiday themed crafts and games, which you could take the time to like maybe go after you read that story, do one of those with the students so it's more engaging and more fun. But it was nice to do, and I definitely think this is like a more fun way to read a story than just, hand the book over and go, boom, there you go. I mean, so, and then moving on to the organization system for a student. This, of course, as the name implies, can help keep students more organized. And this can be things like maybe a file folder for the student, a schedule, a cubby of some kind. Like they could have different cubbies for different things so they know where to put things. Visual supports for them to see, and tactile supports maybe for them to feel, and other things. These are just some of the ones that I could think of course. And my story for this one was that I did a visual schedule for one of the students in my placement. Her name was Natalie. And my phone, I guess, or my phone cord or whatever, is really junky, and I just like couldn't get the picture that I took of the schedule from my phone like to here. But this is kind of what it looks like. What my schedule looks like. I put all of her things that she does in a day on different cards like this, little laminated things, and I velcroed them to a big poster board, a green one. I made it green because I believe green is her favorite color, so I thought she would like that. And yeah, so what she would do is like she would do her first task. Like her first task is reading center, so we'll just pretend that says reading center. And I would take, or after she would complete this, she would take it off and put it in an envelope over here. Then she would move on to the next thing, which would be like break for her. So she would go on break, and then after break, she would take that and put that in and do her teacher center. And she would continue and so on and so on and so forth. And she would go through like fluency center, special classes, snack time, task boxes, which are boxes that they do with little things that reinforce concepts they're learning. Break, lunch, homeroom, home. So she would do all those, and after she was done with each and every one of them, she would put them in the envelope, and they'd be put back on for the next day. So it kind of gives her an idea of like what she has to do, what she has done, what's coming next. A way to organize her day. So I think that's really nice. I like that. So the teacher already had one of the schedules for all of her students actually. So I just made one for Natalie because of her long schedule. There's like 16 things actually on her schedule. So more than this. How many's here? 1, 2, 3, 5, 10. She has like 6 more than that. So that's kind of a lot. So I guess she would need a schedule to keep her day, in line. Strategies for students. So such strategies as Paltry and Wrap are helpful to students. They can give them added support and scaffolding to complete tasks, which is a good thing. They can be an excellent reference for students. Like maybe you could give them a cheat sheet of these strategies so that they know how to use them for what they're doing. And I'll be talking about Paltry because I enjoyed that strategy, and actually I've never heard of it before. I've never heard of any of these strategies before this class, which is kind of mind-boggling to me because I thought I would by now, but I guess not. So Paltry, so the PAL, the P stands for Pick My Ideas, which is kind of like you're picking a topic to write about or something like that. The O is Organize My Notes, which is kind of like brainstorming. You're getting your ideas and then you're going to like organize them into thoughts. And then the W is Write and Say More, which moves straight into the tree part of Paltry. So the T stands for Topic Sentences, which is like telling what you believe or like writing out, what you're going to write about for the rest of the paragraph. So the R is Reasons, 3 or more reasons. So like, why do you believe this? Will my readers believe me when I write this? So these are like your 3 body sentences of your paragraph. The first E is the ending, so you'll wrap it up right, which is your conclusion for the paragraph. And then you're going to examine. It's the final E. So do you have all your parts? So that's like, do you have the topic, the first sentence, the conclusion, the last sentence, and the 3 middle sentences of your paragraph. So this is a great strategy for writing a paragraph. I would definitely implement this with a student because it's helpful, and I think they'll find it helpful as well. So conclusion. I have learned quite a bit this semester with interventions to help students with high incidence disabilities and with different ideas to use for them, which is very nice because I might be working with that population one day. So it'll be good references. It has been an excellent course in understanding what high incidence disabilities are. Like I mentioned earlier in the intro, or when I was talking about what high incidence disabilities are, mentioning the distinction between low incidence and high incidence. I was glad I was able to see that closely this semester. I also learned that I can really make a difference with things that I do. Like with digital story sharing, that could be something that makes all the difference with the student when it comes to reading. It could give them more reading confidence maybe, or make them more excited to read. So things that I do could actually make a difference, and it like just dawned on me, and I was like, wow, that's pretty amazing, and like why I chose to do this, of course. I also learned, when you're doing a strategy or an intervention, you have to model for the student, show them what to do. Then you, of course, teach the student. Work through it with the student. Act like their buddy and like help them along with it. Work through it with them so they can see you as a model as well. And have open discussions with the student, which is something I think is so important because I'm sure they're going to have lots of questions, and I would want an open discussion to like ask anything, and nothing is off limits with questions about like what you're talking about, or what you're teaching, or what you're modeling, or something like that. It could be really helpful for them, and it would like free them up to ask any questions, not feel fear of like, oh, that's too many questions, or like stop asking questions. I think that'd be helpful. And finally, thank you for a great semester. It's been an excellent class learning about many different interventions and important relevant topics to the course of high incidence disabilities. And I'm really glad that I was here for it. Thank you.